Hey everybody, thanks for checking out this week's episode of My First Sketch at myfirstsketch.com. I'm Josh Hyam. As always, feel free to subscribe to the show on iTunes or on SoundCloud to get it automatically. If you use the Stitcher app, you can also listen to the show there. Like the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/myfirstsketch. Email me at josh@myfirstsketch.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at myfirstsketch. July 23rd. At 4:30 p.m., I'll be doing a live My First Sketch during Philly Podfest. My guests will be the incredible Shrinking Matt and Jackie, and we will be talking at Philly Improv Theater's second stage. 4:30, July 23rd. Tickets are already available at phitcomedy.com. But today's guest is Marissa Edelman, one half of the Amazing Flying Edelmen. Her first sketch is called Ryan Shabif. Ross Regan, Jonathan Forstater, and Peter Brown read as Tad, Chad, and Brad, a trio of roommates blaming all their problems on their other roommate, Ryan Shabif. Marissa Edelman plays Rachel, Chad's girlfriend, and I give all the stage directions and visual information. So, let's go to the sketch. Lights up. Interior, a gross dude house, dining room. Brad storms on stage and starts pacing back and forth.
House meeting, guys. House meeting.
Chad and Tad enter. All three guys take seats around the dining room table.
Where's Ryan?
Yeah, where is he?
Typical. That's actually why I called a house meeting. I've had enough of Ryan Shabif. His antics have gone too far.
Oh, thank God it's not just me. I woke up this morning to find that he pissed all over my room.
Classic Shabif. Last week, he shaved off his pubes and then used them to spell out Ryan Shabif was here in the shower.
Shabif is ridiculous. 2 days ago, he punched me in the face because he thought I was a robber, which would have been fine if I wasn't in bed, sleeping.
What a shithead. Oh, that reminds me, I have to go see what he did to my Thanksgiving leftovers.
Tad walks off stage and returns with a Tupperware bowl and a note. He hands the note to Chad.
Saved you some. Love, Ryan. That's not so bad, at least he didn't eat the whole thing.
Look inside.
Chad opens the Tupperware. He and Brad look in, and immediately Chad closes the lid. Chad and Brad make retching noises and other sounds of horror and disgust, but Brad seems to merely be playing along.
That is disgusting.
Speaking of disgusting, last week Ryan Shabif filled my fleshlight with jizz. Like, completely. There were cups of it. I'm honestly worried about him, medically.
Ryan Shabif had someone airbrush a gay centaur three-way on the hood of my Jetta when he knew I was lead car in my mom's funeral procession.
All three are visibly horrified, Tad slightly less so.
Yeah, man. My uncle killed himself the next day because of it.
You don't know that.
He specifically cited it in his suicide note.
Well, maybe Shabif should get a taste of his own medicine. We've lived under this asshole's tyranny for too long.
We can't kick him out. He's on the lease.
No, man. We find that motherfucker and we kill him. Where's Shabif?
Tad starts to chant. It has the same cadence as Where's the Beef?
Where's Shabif? Where's Shabif? Where's
Shabif?
Where's Shabif?
Brad and Chad join in. They're chanting.
Where's Shabif?
Where's Shabif?
Where's Shabif? Whoa, guys. We can't kill Ryan Shabif.
Why not?
I'm pretty sure murder is a crime.
I can't go to jail for doing a crime.
Exactly. Plus, you have to admit, sometimes Shabif isn't so bad.
Yeah, he once replaced my anime porn stash with Bibles, but that's only because he didn't want my mom to find out that I'm sexually attracted to giant robots.
And when Shabif banged my girlfriend, he did it to show me that she wasn't the right girl for me.
Chad puts his hand on Tad's shoulder.
You'll find her someday, man.
Tad puts his hand on Chad's.
Thanks, bro.
I would even say that Ryan Shabif is the best guy who lives in this house. It was like he knew I was thinking about upgrading to a new ride when he stole my car, crashed it into a ditch, doused it in gasoline, and set it on fire. He's a gentleman and a scholar and
Brad starts to get choked up.
a damn good friend.
To Shabif.
Shabif.
Shabif. Shabif. Shabif. Shabif.
This goes on for a little while until Rachel, Chad's girlfriend, enters from stage left, carrying a bag of groceries.
Why are you chanting?
Oh, hey, babe. We were just talking about Ryan Shabif.
Ryan Shabif? You mean that fourth roommate / scapegoat you guys made up because you're monsters to each other?
Don't say that about Shabif.
Yeah, he's an American hero who may also be Chinese, but we haven't quite decided if that's racist or not.
Rachel pinches the bridge of her nose and takes a deep breath.
Whatever. Also, which one of you dum-dums tried to replace my hairspray with mace? It was just a can of pepper spray with a Post-it note that said hairspray attached to it.
Chad, Brad, and Tad look alarmed. They all stick out both arms, pointing to the other two roommates.
Shabif did it!
Blackout. Hey, Marissa.
Hey, how's it going?
All right. So tell me about this idea. Where did this come from?
Oh my God, Ryan Shabif. I think Ryan Shabif is, so my brother and I live together, my brother Jonathan, the other half of the Amazing Flying Edelmen. And we had this joke, he came up with this name Ryan Shabif, and it turned into this joke about we had this phantom roommate who lived in the back room of our basement.
Okay.
And that every time something bad happened, we would blame it on Ryan Shabif. Like, oh, the toilet broke, Ryan Shabif did it.
Even though it was John that did it.
Yeah, well, it was, I don't think we ever actually, like, implemented it. We just, like, would joke, like,
Right, okay.
oh, it's Ryan Shabif again.
Okay.
Like, and then, so I started taking Sketch 101 with Jackie Baker, and then this was, I don't think this was the first assignment, but I wrote the sketch first.
Okay. Roughly when was your Sketch 101 Jackie Baker?
Sketch 101 was, I think, session 2 of last year, so like March 2016.
Okay. So we've talked to John before. You're my first well, actually, that's not true because I had your mom collectively, but you're the first individual siblings. And you were here that night that John and I recorded.
Yes. Yes.
So hopefully you remember it more than I do because I did not do my homework and I didn't do the research.
I remember some of it, yeah.
So everything from your side, from your perspective, is now
Yeah.
fresh and new for me. All right, so let's go to the beginning.
Okay.
What were you into growing up? What made you laugh?
What made me laugh? I think my big two are Monty Python and The Simpsons. I'm like a humongous Monty Python nerd. Actually, like this tattoo I have on my arm, there's 3 roses on it. 2 red, 1 blue from the opening of Monty Python's Flying Circus where they have the...
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like the flowers come out in the name, and there's 3 red roses and 1 blue rose.
Huh. I wonder how many other people have like comedy-inspired tattoos, and let's do that research. Let's figure that out.
That would be really interesting because like it's definitely something that like has shaped my sense of humor, like that absurdism.
When did you start watching Monty? Like, was this like the PBS?
Yeah.
Monty? Okay.
Yes, because my parents had us watch a lot of PBS, and my parents really loved comedy and still do. This is also probably on Jonathan's episode, but we had just all sorts of like tapes. My dad, every time Blackadder was on PBS, my dad would tape it. We watched The Simpsons. A lot of my friends growing up, like their parents wouldn't let them watch The Simpsons, but we watched as a family.
I wasn't allowed basically until they were syndicated. So like
Wow.
I never watched it like live, but I was allowed, when they did that like 6:30 run, like when they started doing nightly. And Blackadder, okay, you bring up Blackadder, and I have such an affinity for the last full series, the season 4.
I cry.
World War One.
I cry at that finale.
Like,
it's so good.
I think the season 4 finale is one of the best half hours of television
ever.
It's
so good. Like the way, I mean, spoiler alert, I guess.
About World War One, yeah.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
if you haven't seen it, the whole series about them trying not to go over the trenches, and they finally get sent over the top, and it just fades to a field of poppies. It's just so beautiful.
And
like,
I forget I forget what the music's playing, but the music has like a sentimental symbolism that I can't remember. But
yeah, it's one of the war songs from World War One played on like a piano. It's just like it's that kind of like immersive, like having the imagery, having the music, having the acting all together to make comedy that also is more than just comedy, it's social commentary, and it fucking hurts to watch because you love these characters.
Yeah, because I think that season is Blackadder at his like least awful.
Yeah.
So there's even more of an attraction to him as a character, like
Yeah.
because he's a total dirtbag in 2 and 3, like complete schemer, like selfish to an extent, like trying to get rich. Where basically in Blackadder 4 during World War One, they're just trying to survive. Like it's no longer about getting rich, staying rich. It's life and death more than anything.
Yeah, I think the way they describe it is that Blackadder's fortunes decline in every single one. So he goes from being like the prince to like a nobleman to a servant.
So, yeah, that's
to
right.
A common person who's a captain who's surrounded by the same rich people and Melchett and all them, but they're so incompetent and they hold so much power over him.
Right. The general's 25 miles away or whatever it
Yeah.
is. Like I never really thought of it that way. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really great, and I don't know. It's a really good season too, because like Hugh Laurie's in that one, Stephen Fry's in that one. It's like the whole gang's there.
Have you ever? What's your favorite Simpsons episode?
Simpsons. Oh my God, it's like Sophie's Choice.
You can do multiples. I'm not going to be picky.
So Camp Krusty is really great. I forget what. I forget what it's called, but it's the one where they get taken away by CPS and sent to the Flanders.
Okay, yeah, as foster children.
Yeah.
Like there's no home diddly.
Yeah, there's no place like home diddly dum doodly. The Sherry Bobbins episode. Oh my God, I could like go on forever. Itchy and Scratchy Land's really good.
Is there a favorite character?
Favorite character probably.
Or most quotable, or most.
I like Lisa. I like Grandpa a lot.
Okay.
Obviously Bart, but yeah, I think probably Lisa and Grandpa are my big two.
What's your introduction to sketch comedy? Monty Python sketch comedy, so that's a dumb question since we've already introduced it. What do you? Okay, well, since I'm asking about favorites, everything. Do you have a favorite Monty Python sketch? Like, is there something that sticks out?
Let's see. I mean, like, there's all the classics that I really like. One of the ones that I think season 4 of Monty Python is very underrated. It's the one after John Cleese leaves, and it just gets weird.
I didn't even know that there was a season without John Cleese.
So there's 45 episodes of I know so much. It's ridiculous. Like, seriously obsessed. Did not have friends for a minute in college. All I did was watch Monty Python. So there's 45 episodes. I think the last 6 are season 4. The rest of them are 13 episodes apiece.
Right. Okay.
And it's like Terry Gilliam has more speaking roles in it, and it just gets really, really bizarre. Michael Palin and Terry Jones took over a lot of the writing, and they were doing more of the long-form conceptual sketches.
Okay.
So I guess 2 of my favorite sketches from them are, one is they have a cycling tour episode where it's just Michael Palin riding around on his bike, encountering people, trying to do like a tour of like Southwest England, and he ends up in Russia.
But it's the other guys are the other characters?
Yes,
okay.
yeah, but that one's entirely written by Michael Palin and Terry Jones. And then my other favorite sketch of theirs is another Palin Jones sketch where they're making fun of Cleese and Chapman, who wrote a lot of list sketches, like Cheese Shop, Parrot Sketch and things like that. So they do one where they're like 2 old women talking about their horoscopes, and they start listing synonyms for the like prediction, and like this big sign comes down, and one of them pulls out like a pointer, and like they get the audience to read along.
So it gets a little meta in there.
So meta.
That's interesting.
And it's this really funny sketch that I've loved, and then you find out that they wrote that sketch to make fun of their friends. It just makes me love it that much more.
Like Monty Python, we talk about Monty Python a lot on this podcast, because we're comedy nerds. But I have to admit that my knowledge of Monty Python is almost purely the movies. Like I haven't seen that many of the Flying Circus episodes, and there's only a few. And basically, like anything I've ever really seen from the show have been like the best of compilations. Like they did a series. This is probably like 5-10 years ago of like each person's best work.
Yeah, they had the best of DVDs where they all picked their favorite sketches.
And there was a one in the Michael Palin called Blackmail, the game show.
Oh, that one's so good.
And that's I love that sketch, and that's like my favorite of the few that I've seen. But
My dad actually loves that sketch because the part where they try to come up with a racial slur for Belgians, and their favorite one is miserable fat Belgian bastards. Like, it's so good. Like it's not funny, and yet it's super funny. But yeah, a lot of people don't watch Flying Circus. I saw it on PBS, and then my parents actually got me like the Time Life VHS series. So like every month they'd send me a new VHS. When I graduated from high
had
school.
to be
Yeah, in retrospect, it was a ton of money. And then I spent so I graduated high school in like 2004. So DVDs were like stupid expensive.
They had just started. They were still,
still very new. So
there's no Walmart like $5 bins yet.
No, like if you were lucky, you could get like a $7 DVD.
Yeah.
So I spent like $180 of my graduation money on the 14-disc DVD box set of Monty Python's Flying Circus, which no longer works because I've watched it so many times.
And I'm sure there's like an upgraded box set by now. Like,
yeah, I think you can just stream it.
They have to have re-released it at least once in the point. Like,
I don't know. I feel like
because isn't there a joke about Eric Idle just always wanting money and like
yeah, he loves money.
So they'll always re-release anything that they want. Like
yeah, Eric Idle and John Cleese were definitely the most like money focused of the two of them. John Cleese was more like, well, we need to sell something. Eric Idle's like, I just want money.
Which is like I think like a bit of the contention about Spam-A-Lot. Like, isn't there?
Yeah, I think some of them weren't completely on board because they thought he was just cashing in. Like Palin and Jones, I think, are also the most like
for the art,
anti-commercial. Yeah, about it. So, but I think they eventually all agreed on it.
Yeah. Like I mean, they had to do that tour.
Oh yeah, they did.
Because weren't they
did the live
sued
shows
or something? Like someone made a joke that they're only doing this because they were sued. That there's there was some kind of lawsuit that I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I think someone wanted like some of the profits from Life of Brian or something like that. Like I haven't been following that closely.
Okay, what's
Monty
your
Python legal history?
You just said you're like a huge fan, and so why don't you dive into like the seedy part of it?
I think it's because I have other hobbies now than obsessively learning about Monty Python.
Other hobbies are overrated.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't have other hobbies.
So what's your introduction to like American sketch comedy?
American sketch comedy.
Like, or did you start watching SNL?
Yeah, definitely watched SNL as a kid. I got a TV in my bedroom when I was like 9 or 10, so I would stay up late and I would watch. I had like a whole ritual where I would watch the first half of Mad TV, and then I would switch to SNL and like switch back and forth. So this was probably starting around like 96, 97. So it was like Will Ferrell, Sherry O'Terry.
So yeah, we're roughly in that same class of where we were watching like shoot, I'm now going to blank on all the Mad TV guys' names, like
there was
Phil Lamar and like Phil Lamar and all
Ari
those like
Spears, Frank Caliendo, Andy Daly was on there when I watched
Andy,
it.
yes. There's so many people that were on Mad TV that people don't realize were on Mad TV.
I watched Mad TV for years. I didn't know Jordan Peele was on there. I remember he might have came in later. I stopped watching in like the early Keegan Michael Key years.
Yeah, right. So,
but
so did I.
Bobby Lee, all those people. Like
there's one sketch, and it's not really even a sketch. We can't even call it a sketch, but it's Ike Barinholtz and Bobby Lee teaching Jordan Peele how to drive, and it's hilarious. It's so funny, like, and it's all just the interplay of just their real characters and like of the later era of Mad TV. That's probably like a standout that you should go and watch if you've never seen it.
Check that out. Like I'm trying to remember the Mad TV sketches I really liked. One of them was Papa Girl in the House, which is like it's super racist, but Artie Lang committed so hard to it. Was My White Mama.
Yeah.
Like the premise of that is like Artie Lang's character like runs over a woman.
Yeah, and gets
black,
and her soul gets incarnated into him, and
it's so fucking racist. But like he acts so hard in it.
But like, okay, is it one of those things that is it racist or is it commenting on?
I don't know.
Like, because I haven't seen that since probably '97.
Yeah,
like
same.
So I'd wonder if we can go back and watch it and be like, yeah, this is like,
we'll see
is
if
it okay?
Up.
Or
I don't know if it holds up, but I don't know. And the other one was, and then I've watched this on YouTube. It's very hard to find a good copy of. Was the PAX TV version of The Sopranos.
Yes, I love that sketch. That's really funny.
So amazing. Just like the quick cuts, and just them saying the F word 47 times, just like fuck.
Yeah.
And they're like eating the gabagool, and then like, and then like a stripper walks in and immediately leaves.
That is because that's a really fun bit of satire because like Sopranos were syndicated to like one of the other cable channels, and they did have to either bleep out a lot or like, and it just made. And going to PAX, just going all the way, just perfect.
Yeah, it was like I think that like the end joke was that it's like from 10:01 to 10:03,
right,
something like that. It was really great.
Who would be your favorite Saturday Night Live cast member? Since I ask everybody.
Phil Hartman.
Yeah.
Just utility player, awesome. I think he got ranked #1 in like list of best SNL cast members or something.
Yeah,
like
when that 40th anniversary happened, there was a ton of different websites that had various lists, and I said anything that didn't that he wasn't 1 or 2 is meaningless.
Yeah.
And I think the Rolling Stone one had him like at like 7, and I was like, no.
Yeah, I think Will Ferrell's also towards the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a soft spot for Adam Sandler, but like more from his movies than I think from SNL. Now
That's
that I
fine.
think
I
about it.
don't necessarily like exclude post SNL work when I ask that question. So, is there like what? All right. I mean,
favorite SNL movie: Coneheads and Wayne's World.
Well, Wayne's World would be mine too.
Yeah.
So Adam Sandler gets a lot of crap now because his movies are probably garbage. I haven't watched them in a while. What would be your favorite movie of his?
Ooh. Okay, I gotta narrow it down to 2. Favorite silly movie: Billy Madison, like hands down. I've seen Billy Madison
First
probably
one.
30
well,
times.
not, like it's not the first one, but it's the first major one of his.
And I like firm stance. Wedding Singer is the best romantic comedy of the 1990s. I love that movie so much. It is just top to bottom because it's like it's sweet, but they also have some of that like Sandler gross humor.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other romantic comedies that I would.
I think it's like Sleepless in Seattle.
That's what I was thinking. Like Sleepless in Seattle, You Got Mail, like those Tom Hanks. Like
I love You've Got Mail, but Wedding Singer's funnier.
Wedding Singer. Well, yeah, Wedding Singer's fantastic. Okay. So where do we go from Comedy Fan as a family to like we're roughly the same age, I think. Yeah. And you're relatively it's not late, but in the comedy world, there's a lot of people that like are way younger, like not way younger, but
they
like
are.
there are like a lot of like 22s, 23s.
Yeah.
And I'm 31.
Yeah, I'm 30.
Okay, like so there's like this whole, and it feels like a weird generation gap. So I'm gonna say you are a little late, despite the fact that Phil Hartman was like 35 when he really got into it. Where do you get into comedy?
I mean, I've always done comedy stuff. Like, I wrote, like, short comedic, like, I wouldn't even call them sketches, like, short plays and stuff. That's why I didn't bring any of the stuff I wrote in from high school.
How long would they be?
30 pages.
That's too long.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a sketch.
And I wrote for a humor newspaper when I was in college, the PHIT at Columbia, which was actually started by Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch. And I wrote a bunch of, like, onion articles. It wasn't a conservative paper. I'm a socialist, guys. It's okay.
I just really can't picture him having a sense of humor.
I don't think it started as a humor paper. I think it started as like I'm an edgy guy kind of paper because I think it was like him and like a liberal and a Republican because he's libertarian. And the 3 of them started like a kind of like anti-establishment paper that eventually turned into
I see.
an onion sort of thing. I wrote for that and was like an editor there.
At Columbia?
Yeah, I went to Barnard, so... I mean, we wrote a lot of really offensive stuff. And then I always liked comedy. I always wanted to write comedy, and like in my like fiction writing is always kind of comedic. Mm-hmm. But I didn't really think about pursuing it, like writing sketches. I thought about doing stand-up, but it was always like, I'm just not going to be good at it. Like, whatever, who cares? And then my brother took a class, I think, at the January 2016 with Jackie.
Okay, so he was
made
first.
Me do it.
He started this.
Yeah.
But if I do remember correctly, when I talked to John, there was like sibling rivalry for a while.
Yeah.
Where basically comedy was the connection.
Or
even growing up, like.
I mean, we'd always we watched TV together as kids. Like we did not get along at all as children. We're 5 years apart, and I was like a grade ahead too. So like when we were in school, we were 6 grades apart.
Yeah.
And it was just like the age difference was really big,
Mm-hmm.
and we would just get on each other's nerves, and like we were kind of like in competition a little bit, which, you know, not cool. Don't raise your kids like that.
But like at the same time, like how much competition is there when you're in 9th grade and he's in 3rd? Like
There was one time where like they said to me like Jonathan got like A's and B's. I had gotten a C in something, and I was just like, he's in 5th grade. I'm in high school. Like it was like a, you know, our parents weren't like, you know, like putting us on a chart and saying like, oh, Jonathan's ahead this week.
there should have been a chart.
But they were just both like really pushing us and encouraging us, and I think inadvertently they put us against each other.
That encouragement went the wrong way a little bit.
No, they definitely, but they're so supportive of us at the same time. I think it was just like a little too much pushing sometimes. And plus me and Jonathan are really competitive people naturally, so I'm not going to blame my parents for that. But yeah, we started like hanging out again when I was in law school, and Jonathan was in college because we both went to Temple.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're just like, because we hadn't like hung out because I had been in college, and he was living with my parents, and then I moved back home, and he was in college.
At a certain point, he is the goofy younger brother, maybe not necessarily want to be around, like, because
he's annoying me, and I'm like, it's my brother.
Because like my sister's 7 years older than I am, and I'm the youngest, and I was the goofy little brother. Like whenever their friends around, I was always like, hey, and like playing like, look at me, like.
Yes, that is exactly it. And I'm like an overly serious goth teenager, so like I wanted none of that. But as an adult, I was just like, oh, hey, we're actually like really similar. Maybe that's why we weren't getting along, because we're both obnoxious. And then it was also really cool as an adult to be like, you know, we're having that like mid-20s sulk fest. And you're like, no, I'm so shitty, and like my personality sucks. And I was just like, oh, wait, you're exactly like me. So like you seem to be okay.
So he takes Sketch 101 at PHIT.
Yeah.
You do it the next term.
Yes.
You both do Jackie?
Yes, both.
Okay.
He said I had to take it with Jackie, and that was a good call. I love Jackie.
But I mean, not that the other people aren't.
Oh no! Everyone who teaches sketch at PHIT is awesome, and I
Now
love
that we
their
know them,
I love their work.
Yeah. So what was the first thing you guys did together on stage?
First thing,
Or what? Where do we get to Amazing Flying Edelmen? Like,
okay,
you do the classes separately. What's next for?
we had already kind of started writing together, like when he was working on his sketches for Jackie's class before I even signed up, and I was against that. Like I was like, I don't want to do this. Like it's whatever. But he would like read it by me, and I was like, this line, maybe you could change it to that. Like maybe that's a little, you know, that'll work a little better. Like, you know, this you could tweak this because like I have a creative writing background, and an editing background, so I would suggest stuff to him, and and you know, I started writing some stuff down when I would have an idea, and he would tell me what he was learning. So I think I wrote Ryan Shabif like around the time I started my sketch class, or slightly before.
Okay.
And
Because that's not like, I mean, I don't know what the current curriculum is, but like when I did Sketch 101 5 years ago, it was a character monologue, fish out of water parody.
That's 201 now.
Yeah, that's
I took 201 with Matt Schmid, and it ended up being like the same curriculum as the 101 I took with Jackie, but I don't think we did a monologue.
Okay.
I missed the first class though, so we could have.
And it might not have been a monologue. It might have just been the 3, but my character was a monologue, so I might be.
Yeah.
So what is this?
My character sketch.
That's a character sketch.
That was the second assignment we had. The first assignment we had was a parody sketch, but I had already written Ryan Shabif. And my parody sketch assignment, I wrote Who's On First, which is like a Abbott and Costello parody where their relationship breaks down during the sketch.
Okay.
Yeah, so then from there, Jonathan and I just started like writing sketches together after that, and PHIT wasn't offering 201 for like a really long time, so we went to SketchUp a few times, and we just started writing together, and then we took the good producing a comedy show class, and we're like, all right, we're gonna use this to produce our first sketch show.
Right, which was Human Cartoons.
Yeah. And then, so the first time we went on stage together was during Theme Show in August, which was, I think it was some kind of family theme.
Okay, which makes sense for the sibling duo to.
Yeah. So, and the sketch we did there was Garg, Uncle of Baby, which was the closing sketch in Human Cartoons.
That's a fun sketch. I enjoyed that.
Thank you. Yeah, Garg, Uncle of Baby, and that comes from me and Jonathan joking around. Our roommate Greg, his sister had a baby, and we started calling him Garg, Uncle of Baby.
I was going to say, so you just invert the vowel, the middle two letters, and just go right away.
Yeah, and it was just really fun calling him Garg, Uncle of Baby. He hates it. But then we were like, well, okay, who's Garg, Uncle of Baby? He's a barbarian. Like, what would Garg, Uncle of Baby do? Oh, what if he goes into Babies R Us and smashes up the place because he's a barbarian and doesn't understand baby stuff?
Yeah, because why would a barbarian understand that?
Yeah, but he wants to repair, but he has a tense relationship with his sister, and he wants to get her a good present. So, like, and I think that also, like, took a lot of inspiration from, like, we had started taking improv classes, which are very relationship focused.
Okay, so Sketch 101 Jackie, 201 with Matt, improv.
201 we just took recently.
Right, okay.
And then we started taking the improv curriculum. So we had 101 with Frank. We're full. We went through the entire curriculum. We're in
together.
Yes.
Wow,
and we're actually in
okay.
conservatory together now.
My gosh.
I know, right? We hang out all the time. It's ridiculous.
That's the math that's coming to my head. I was like, holy crap, is this the first time John has not been in the room with you? Like,
we do hang out all the time. It's crazy, especially now because our show's coming up.
Yeah.
And we're just like literally spending all our time together
all right.
working.
101 with Frank Farrell.
101 with Frank Farrell, 201 with Meredith Weir,
Okay.
301 with Jess Snow, 401 with Nick Gillette, improv with conservatory with Frank Farrell.
Okay.
Awesome. We're doing the deconstruction.
Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah.
On one hand, like, I just can't get over that like, on one hand, it has to strengthen the work ethic of you two together. But at a certain point, I just have to imagine I'd get sick of you, like, or like vice versa, you know, like.
I think it's because we have really similar personalities. We're usually on the same page about stuff. Like if we're in class, there's something that happens that like we don't like, or there's something we see in a scene that we're like, oh, that was interesting. Like we talk about what we did in class afterwards, and we talk about like what we liked, what we didn't like, how that informs like, well, if we were doing that, what would we do? And it's just like we're like comedy process buddies, I guess.
So I think the first time when I talked to John, you know, that night, it was for the debut of Gimmick Show. I think roughly, I think that was when we reached out and did it. So how's Gimmick Show doing?
Gimmick Show is so great. I'm so happy with it. We did our 4th show this month. We are writing our June show right now. But yeah, we have like a really great crew of people every month. Like we're really starting to come together as a group because there's like 13 of us plus a band.
That's a lot.
Or 10 of us in a band. And just every episode is just like controlled chaos, which is what we like, how we kind of imagined it, where it seems unplanned, but we worked crazy hard on it.
But you have the new show. Was it Decline of Western Civilization?
Decline of Western Culture.
Culture, okay.
Yeah.
And we like. How's that going? It's
so good.
Like,
I was really excited for Human Cartoons. I'm like a million times more excited for Decline of Western Culture because it's, I don't know, I think we've definitely taken on a lot more this time. The sketches are more complicated. Some of them are really tech heavy, but like.
Is it just still the two of you doing everything?
Two.
Like, there's no extra actors, no featuring?
No, all the live stuff is just 2 people. We have some video sketches that like my friend Drew sat in Jonathan's place because we play a couple. It's a little weird.
Yeah, that's one of the things with the sibling duo. You can't do that relationship thing without the context of Philly's Dirtiest.
Oh yeah,
like.
We do play a couple in,
or at least it
in one of
feels
our
weird.
sketches.
Yeah.
Well, we're not like touching each other.
Right.
We're arguing, so it's a little easier to handle. But yeah, the only time we're like a loving couple. Actually, no, we have 2 sketches in this new one where we play couples.
So I say,
forgot.
I say you shouldn't do this, and you're like, no, we've got a couple. We're fine. It's all right. Like.
Yeah. But I think being siblings forces us not to default to like, well, I'm a guy and you're a girl. Let's play a couple.
Right. You can default to siblings. It's perfectly
there.
fine.
What's that?
You can default to siblings. That's perfectly fine.
We're siblings. Sometimes we're friends. We're coworkers. Like it kind of forces us to think outside of like the tension and the stakes of a romantic relationship.
Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Like,
I think we have one where we're enemies, one where we're roommates, two where we're romantically involved, and one where we're just us.
okay.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna do some more. Like I don't know if we can say. I'm pretty sure we're gonna be opening up for Flat Earth, and then we're gonna do a run of probably 2 PHIT shows. Is the way we've been doing it. We'll do 2 at Good, 2 at PHIT.
All right. I ask everyone these questions because I think we're wrapping up. Yeah, we're good on time.
All right, cool.
What have you learned from comedy so far? What's
learned?
something, it's always either existential about life itself or something practical that you would pass on to a new writer.
I think
Either and or both.
Yeah. I think comedy, like, it definitely forces you to grapple with, like, any kind of, like, self-esteem or social anxiety kind of stuff issues that you have, because you really are putting yourself out there and, like, committing to something that you wrote and that you put your name on and that you're, like, displaying to the world. And I really like that. Like, improv, like, forces you to listen. Sketch makes you really, like, kind of consider your message and what you're putting out there. So I think it just, the practice of doing comedy makes you just a more, like, detail-oriented and mindful kind of person. I think that's been my experience anyway. I think it's been really great, just, like, making me feel more confident in myself and what I do and what I put out in the world, and making me consider my own integrity and what I want to put my name on and want to be associated with.
And then finally, you got a little nudge from John since he did the class first, and to get you into it. Why do you keep doing it?
It's super fun, and I mean, I feel it's rewarding. I think. I mean, I feel like we're getting really good feedback. Everyone I meet is super nice. Like, I don't think I've met anyone in the Philly comedy scene where I'm like, that person's an asshole. Like, everyone I've met's just been really cool, really supportive. And I mean, a part of it is just like, I like feedback. I like people being like, oh my God, that was so funny. You know, and I mean, there's still a self-doubt moment where I'm like, they're just telling me that because you're not going to go and say to my face, like, I thought your sketch was garbage. But it's like the adrenaline rush of being on stage is great. You know, really going on stage, coming out and being like, I had an amazing show. Like, you really don't get that kind of, like, high, I guess, for lack of a better term.
You know, without getting high.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, getting regular high, you don't feel that accomplished, though. I mean, unless you grew the weed yourself or something. Like, oh, I earned this.
Thanks, Melissa. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Dang it.
It's okay.
Consarn it.
So you made it through 99% of the show, and then it's okay. Right. I forgive you.
Thanks, Marissa.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Marissa can be seen next as the Amazing Flying Edelmen present The Decline of Western Culture on June 10th at 7 p.m. at Good Comedy with Trigger Warning opening. Tickets available at goodgoodcomedy.com. Then, Gimmick Show returns to PHIT on June 17th at 10:30 p.m. On top of that, the Edelmans will also be performing during Couple Skate at PHIT twice on June 22nd and June 29th. Both of those shows are at 9 p.m., and tickets for those 3 are available at phitcomedy.com. Don't forget, tickets are already available for the live My First Sketch during Philly Podfest. I'll be talking to the incredible Shrinking Man Jackie at Philly Improv Theater's second stage on July 23rd at 4:30 p.m. My First Sketch is a Philly Sketchfest production. You can find out more information at phillysketchfest.com or on Twitter at PHLSketchfest. Also, for more information about comedy in Philly, head to watercooler.com. The music on this episode is by the band No, which you can check out at nonoband.bandcamp.com and like My First Sketch on Facebook. This is Josh Hyam. Thanks for listening. Go see some comedy.